you two poems. One by Bob Dylan about life and love and disappointment, and the other by Dylan Thomas about death. They don't have a lot to do with one another, but they're both by my favorite Dylans. So here we go. I am going to read you Tangled Up in Blue by Bob Dylan and Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. Early one morning, the sun was shining. I was laying in bed and wondered if she changed at all, if her hair was still red. Her folks, they said our lives together sure were gonna be rough. They never did like Mama's homemade dress. Papa's makebook wasn't big enough. And I was standing on the side of the road, rain falling on my shoes, headed out for the East Coast. Lord knows I paid some dues getting through, tangled up in blue. She was married when we first met, soon to be divorced. I helped her out of jam, I guess, but I used a little too much force. We drove that car as far as we could, abandoned it out west, split up on a dark, sad night, both agreeing it was best. She turned around to look at me as I was walking away. I heard her say over my shoulder, "We'll meet again someday on the avenue, tangled up in blue." I had a job in the great North Woods, working as a cook for a spell, but I never did like it all that much, and one day the axe just fell. So I drifted down to New Orleans, where I happened to be employed, working for a while on a fishing boat right outside of Delacroix. But all the while I was alone and the past was close behind. I seen a lot of women, but she never escaped my mind, and I just grew, tangled up in blue. She was working in a topless place, and I stopped in for a beer. I just kept looking at the side of her face and the spotlight so clear. And later on, as the crowd thinned out and I was just about to do the same, she was standing there in the back of my chair, said to me, "Don't I know your name?" I muttered something underneath my breath, and she studied the lines on my face. I must admit I felt a little uneasy when she bent down to tie the laces of my shoe, tangled up in blue. She lit a burner on the stove and offered me a pipe. I thought you'd never say hello, she said. You look like the silent type. Then she opened up a book of poems and handed it to me, written by an Italian poet from the 13th century. And every one of them words rang true and glowed like burning coal, pouring off of every page like it was written in my soul from me to you, tangled up in blue. I lived with them on Montague Street in a basement down the stairs. There was music in the cafes at night and revolution in the air. Then he started into dealing with slaves, and something inside of him died. She had to sell everything she owned and froze up inside. And when finally the bottom fell out and I became withdrawn, the only thing I knew how to do was keep on keeping on, like a bird that flew, tangled up in blue. So now that I'm back again, I gotta get to her somehow. All the people we used to know, they're an illusion to me now. Some are mathematicians, some are carpenters' wives. I don't know how it all got started. I don't know what they're doing with their lives. But me, I'm still on the road, headed for another joint. We always did feel the same. We just saw it from a different point of view. Tangled up in blue. And now Dylan Thomas. Sorry. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had fought no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang in the sun of flight and learned, too late, they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, Curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Thank you.